Thanos left some pretty massive shoes to fill in the MCU. Following a decade of build-up and storytelling, the Mad Titan not only managed to wield all 6 Infinity Stones, but he actually defeated the Avengers and wiped out half the universe in the process. Now, Thanos stuck with millions of viewers around the world, not just because he was a powerful foe with intimidating power, he was also relatable. He was understandable and almost sympathetic in his plight. He may have been murderous, he may have been insane, but his reasoning actually made sense, and you really couldn't argue with some of the things he said to justify his actions. He wasn't just an evil for the sake of being evil kind of villain, and he didn't just want to take over the universe for the sake of ruling over it either. He had a specific goal. He didn't care who got hurt on the road to achieving it, which made him way more compelling to watch, and it made the build-up to Infinity War and Endgame much more tense than they would have been if he was a simple character. Now, the Infinity Saga is behind us. Phase 4 recently concluded. MCU fans are looking to the future where Kang the Conqueror is staring straight back at them as the new big baddie. We really don't know much about the MCU's version of Kang just yet, but with Ant-Man 3 around the corner, that's going to change. Marvel Studios has been making it very clear to us that Quantumania is going to be a huge shakeup for the MCU's current trajectory, and Kang is going to be the main villain. We know that Kang isn't going to be defeated by the end of the film, but we also know that something important is going to happen that kickstarts the road to Secret Wars. Official details have been scarce on Quantumania and Kang's story over the last few years, but a huge leak just came out that may actually reveal what Kang is up to and how Ant-Man 3 will change everything we know about the MCU's current timeline. Before we get into it, I want to throw a huge spoiler warning out there, because even though we don't know for sure if this leak is legitimate, there's a chance it is. And if that's the case, I'm about to spoil Ant-Man 3 for you, so if you want to go into the movie completely blind, I'd recommend clicking off this video. But if you don't mind some potential spoilers, stick around. Welcome to the Chaos Multiverse, everybody. Drop a like, make sure you're subscribed, and here we go. So I called this report a leak a minute ago. While that probably wasn't totally accurate, it was definitely something that Marvel Studios did not want to get out to the public. Jonathan Majors is an incredibly talented actor that some of you probably know from Lovecraft Country, The Harder They Fall. He's made it clear he's taking the role of Kang very seriously. He had extensive acting training. He's spoken in interviews about how every variant of Kang will have a distinct personality and the background that he takes into account when portraying them. It can be difficult for an actor to come up with one convincing portrayal of a character, let alone dozens of them. But Jonathan Majors doesn't mess around, and he's alluded to there even being a number of Kang variants coming to the big and small screen over Phase 5 and 6, and they're going to face off with our Marvel heroes. But his director, Peyton Reed, went a little too far discussing the upcoming Ant-Man 3 variant in a recent issue of Empire magazine, and this is where the leak comes into play. Marvel Studios have a bit of a history with hiring actors who get a little too excited and they reveal a little too much about the movie before it's out, and if this issue of Empire, Reed seems to have accidentally spilled the beans on some important Kang details. Empire started asking questions as to why Kang was selected to be the main villain of the Ant-Man movie since the two characters don't have much of a history in the comics. Reed stated that this warrior variant of Kang is actually stuck in the quantum realm at the beginning of the movie, although he stopped short of explaining exactly why. Reed said they wanted to have Ant-Man face off with an all-timer antagonist, and that's what they really wanted to do to explore the quantum realm more than any other Marvel movie has. He said, it's massive world-building undertaking. It owes an equal part to electron microscope photography, 70s and 80s heavy metal magazine stuff, and a lot of my favorite science fiction book cover artists. And there's even a little of the artist in there. Fantastical realm is the vibe. So how does that factor into a plot leak? Well, here we go. Previously, it was unknown if Kang was just hanging out in the quantum realm or if he had conquered it, or perhaps he was stuck. Now we know directly from the film's director's mouth, he's stuck, which explains why he hasn't busted out and started messing with the main timeline. But this basically spoils the entire ending of the movie because there's only one way this plays out, and we know. If Kang is stuck in the quantum realm, we basically know for an absolute fact he's going to break out by the end, and it will likely be a result of something that happens with Ant-Man 3. Now, I don't know if it'll be directly Ant-Man's fault, or maybe one of the other villains will harness Ant-Man's technology, and then it will somehow get back to Kang. But with all the Marvel writers telling us over the last few months that Ant-Man 3 is going to change everything, it seems to line up with the many theories that have been floating around. If Kang is looking to take over every universe, but he's stuck in the quantum realm, it makes sense why we never heard from him before, despite him being there for the entire time. This warrior variant of Kang has been locked away in the quantum realm for however long, but without a way out. He's just been sitting there, waiting for his train to come. And I'm wondering, is this the same Kang that we saw in the statue at the end of Loki Season 1, or was Loki Season 1 actually after Ant-Man 3? That's a good question too. Now with Ant-Man and the gang zipping into the quantum realm, spending a lot of time there during the movie, I think it's extremely likely they're going to cross paths with Kang, who will somehow use them as a way to get out of the realm and start slowly executing his plan to conquer the universe. That's what the trailers show, right? It's all but confirmed that MODOK is going to be making his MCU debut in this movie, and there is also going to be a new character called Krylar, played by the legendary Bill Murray. I wouldn't be shocked at all if one of them ends up being the missing link between Kang and escaping. I also wouldn't be shocked at all if one of Ant-Man's gang's technologies ends up getting stolen or compromised, and eventually it's used as a way to release Kang from his quantum prison, which would allow him to start exploring Earth and its surrounding planets, setting up future confrontations with other variants. Remember, he probably has to knock off other versions of himself. Once he gets out of the quantum realm, he could start finding ways to get his other variants to join him or get rid of them. Could lead to several confrontations that Jonathan Majors teased in previous interviews. Remember, Majors has deliberately said there are many versions of Kang that are going to show up over the next few years, but if he's stuck in the quantum realm, none of that can happen. Several Marvel writers have also said numerous times Ant-Man 3 is going to be a major turning point for the MCU story, likely kickstart the main plot that leads to Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Now granted, Secret Invasion hasn't come out yet, and that's likely going to play a huge role in the story as well, but Avengers 5 simply can't happen if Kang is stuck in the quantum realm. And when you start putting all those interviews together, you see the picture pretty clear. Speaking of its Secret Invasion, it's believed that we're going to see a bit of that at the CCXP event later this year, likely including a trailer and maybe a more solid release date. For those unaware, Secret Invasion is basically a giant espionage thriller where the Skrulls start infiltrating different organizations on Earth and breaking down the chain of power. Now with the Avengers and S.H.I.E.L.D. more or less gone right now, it's very likely that the Skrull are going to be able to put the final nail in the coffin by completely taking over Earth. Without any true protectors, Kang will basically be able to steamroll through Earth's heroes one by one with as many variants until the new Avengers are assembled in Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Marvel Studios has been putting a lot of emphasis on the Ant-Man 3 version of Kang being the warrior variant, and Jonathan Majors has said there are going to be many versions of Kang throughout the next few years, and frankly, I have no idea which version is going to be the main version, or if that's even going to be a thing. Honestly, I wouldn't be shocked at all if there's no main version of Kang. Instead, we get a giant army of Kangs that are equally powerful, working as a unit, and then we get the Council of Kangs. Now, Ant-Man 3 is right around the corner. We won't have to wait much longer to know definitively what the plan is with Kang, but if you're trying to avoid spoilers, might be a good time to start muting Kang and the Ant-Man on social media because the leaks are starting to fly. The Kang story arc is very different from the Thanos arc in the sense that leak culture wasn't nearly as dominant back during the Infinity Saga as is it now. There are entire networks dedicated to covering leaks and theories in the movie industry, and it's pretty hard to avoid spoilers. On one hand, it can be frustrating to stumble upon leaks and all that. On the other hand, it's exciting. I know for a fact that Marvel and Disney are aware of leak culture, and they almost certainly leak bad intel on purpose to try to throw people off the scent. But then again, when your own director is going to go out and reveal huge details about the story, you can't be shocked when people talk. I guess that's just a byproduct of the MCU being so huge. But the point is, we're not going to have to wait much longer until we find out what actually is going to happen with Kang and Ant-Man 3 and Scott Lang and how it's going to change the story's trajectory. The film is set to release in February. We'll probably get another trailer next month, so be on the lookout.